year was 7. Earth had become almost unlivable. Music temperatures rose every day, pushing humanity closer to extinction. Cities burned and vanished under constant heat. Forests that once sustained life were reduced to ash. Oxygen was nearly gone. With no plants left, humans survived only on artificial oxygen, keeping them alive, but slowly destroying them from within. Humanity stood on the edge of collapse. Yet, in this dying world, one small city still stood. Broken music and desperate survivors were floating toward it, believing it to be their final refuge. In this city lived a man named Ethan White. Ethan was not a scientist or a soldier. He was just a laborer, but the weight he carried was immense. He maintained the city's power grid, the source of both electricity and oxygen. If he failed even once, the city would fall. Every night he worked deep underground away from the sun's deadly radiation, while his wife Xanthi lay slowly dying above. That day Ethan worked inside Music, the scorching tunnel, like always. As a high-voltage electrician, he risked his life stabilizing the massive nuclear reactor that powered Music, the city. After the shift ended, the workers gathered to leave. During attendance, an elderly worker said he would not be able to return the next day. The supervisor looked at him coldly Music and asked, "Who will take his place?" Ethan stepped forward. "I'll do it. Just Music pay me." Without hesitation, the supervisor fired the old man and placed the entire burden on Ethan. Exhausted, Ethan walked through the city. Everyone wore oxygen masks. Machines and drones moved Music between tall buildings, filling the air with mechanical noise. Suddenly, the old worker grabbed Ethan, begging for his job Music back. His children were sick. Without work, he would die. Ethan's friend, Jack, stepped in to protect him. Before anything could happen, the city froze in shock. A man suddenly set himself on fire, screaming that oxygen must be saved for future generations. He died moments later. His words faded into silence. The next day, the news delivered another painful truth. It was the anniversary of the death of the last plant on Earth. Not a single tree or flower remained. Back home, Ethan tried to share a quiet moment with Xanthi. She showed him a small painting on her oxygen helmet. Suddenly, she began coughing violently, vomiting blood inside the mask. Years of breathing artificial oxygen had destroyed her body. Fear filled Ethan's eyes. The next day, Ethan returned to the tunnel once more. As he worked, 2 guards approached and tried to take him away. Jack stepped forward and said firmly, "He's not going anywhere without me." The guards escorted Ethan and Jack into a massive, gleaming building. It was the headquarters of Chronocorp, the corporation that supplied artificial oxygen to the entire world. They passed through long, silent corridors before finally standing before the company's CEO, Regina Jackson. There was a strange weight in Regina's eyes as she studied Ethan. "How is your wife?" she asked. Ethan answered quietly, exhausted. "I am taking care of her as best as I can." Regina explained that more and more people were abandoning artificial oxygen. If this continued, humanity would disappear completely. But she said there was still a small hope, and that hope was Ethan. Ethan let out a short, bitter laugh. "I'm just a laborer. What could I possibly do for you?" Regina led them into a secure laboratory. At the center of the room stood a colossal machine. It was called Chronocorp. She revealed that Ethan's father once worked there. He was a genius, and it had taken 20 years to build the machine. Regina explained that they had sent a radio signal into space using the device. When the signal returned, it was different. Hidden inside it was a message sent from 47 years in the future. Ethan and Jack stood in shock. "Are you saying this is a time machine?" Jack asked. Ethan whispered, "That means humans still exist 400 years from now." A scientist activated the screen and displayed the message. Ethan's heart dropped. It contained only 3 words: "Send Ethan White." Regina spoke calmly. "Whoever sent this message has found a cure for the disease. The same disease that causes people to vomit blood." The same disease your wife Santhi is suffering from. Ethan swallowed hard. He said, they want to send us the cure to save the world. But why me? We don't know, Regina replied. And music, we only have one chance to send someone. Jack immediately asked, why only one? The scientist explained music, that the machine was powered by the city's only nuclear reactor. Activating it would shut down the entire city. We can't afford music to use it more than once. Ethan's breathing slowed. I don't know why, he said. Music, but it feels like if I enter that machine, I'll never come back. Regina didn't deny music it. You were right. We can send you, but we have no way to bring you back. Ethan stared at her. So, music, you were sending me to a future I can never return from. Regina said, when music you reach the future, you must find the people who sent the message. They'll guide you to the cure. You could save humanity, and you could save your wife. Later, music Ethan sat with Jack in a quiet cave. His eyes were empty. I can't leave my wife, he said in a broken voice. Jack urged him to think about the mission. Your father trusted these music people. Something inside Ethan snapped. He shouted, my father was a fool and a liar. Ethan revealed the truth. His father, Richard Music, had taken his own life when Ethan was only 8 years old. The loss shattered his mother and filled Ethan with anger. You want me to follow his path? Ethan yelled. Music, you want me to abandon my sick wife like he abandoned us? Jack stayed silent for a moment. Then he said softly, I lost my entire family. I lost myself. But you can still save Santhi. For Ethan, it was no longer about saving the world. It was about saving her. The story shifts to the past. Ethan is 8 years old. It's his birthday. His father, Richard Music, gives him a strange gift and smiles gently. He says, this will make you what you were born to be. Music, you were meant for something great. Richard asks Ethan to open a metal box. As Ethan reaches inside, a thick black metal bracelet snaps onto his music wrist, locking tightly. Blood runs down his small hand. His screams fill the room. Ethan doesn't understand music how a father could do this. Fear and pain fill his eyes. Richard watches, shaking with regret, and says, this will never come off. Ethan, I'm sorry. Music. Then Richard turns away, walks out the door, and never returns. The story returns to the present. Music. Ethan tells Santhi everything. His voice is heavy as he says, I won't leave you for a fabricated story. Music, you are my world. Santhi looks at him steadily and asks, do you really think a second chance is a lie? Music, how can you believe that? Ethan shakes his head and says, you are the only thing that matters to me. Music, I can arrange the money. I can save you. I can't leave you. Santhi talks to him for a long time. She speaks calmly, patiently, Music trying to break through his fear. Slowly, and against his will, Ethan begins to accept the truth. Maybe this chance is real. Maybe it is his last hope. Later, that night, Ethan sits alone, Music on the rooftop of a tall building. The city is silent. He grips the iron bracelet on his wrist and tries to tear it off. He pulls and twists with all his strength, but it doesn't move. The more he struggles, the more helpless he feels. Deep into the night, Ethan Music wakes up suddenly. He writes a message and places it beside Santhi. I will find Music a way to come back to you. The pain is clear on his face as he leaves. Carrying a heavy heart, Music, he goes straight to Chronocorp headquarters and stands before Regina and says, if I bring back even one dose of the cure, it will be for Santhi. I won't go anywhere without it. Regina looks at him for a moment, then Music nods. A scientist brings forward a specialized time travel suit Music and explains that it will protect Ethan during the journey. He places a small aid device in Ethan's Music hand. This will monitor your health and send us every detail. We'll know you are alive. We'll be watching. Ethan puts on the suit and Music steps into the center of the machine. Circular columns of energy light up around him. The machine begins to vibrate as the process starts, filling the chamber with light. Before leaving, Ethan turns to Jack and says, take care of Santhi, brother. Suddenly, a surge of energy Music erupts. The machine shakes violently and the entire facility goes dark. and then feels himself falling as if pulled into a deep void. Particles of light swirl around him, with a final violent impact, and then breaks through the clouds and crashes into the ground. He lands in the middle of a vast forest and loses consciousness. When he wakes up, his time travel suit is on fire. Panicked, he tears it off and crawls away. Moments later, sparks burst from the suit's core, followed by a loud explosion that echoes through the forest. He then steadies himself and looks around. Music. He is standing in a dense, untouched forest. It feels like he has stepped back 100 years in time. The towering trees and living greenery belong to a world long gone. He activates his device. "Archie," he asks, "where are we?" Archie tells him to follow the map and guides him forward. As he then moves ahead, he notices something in the distance. A skeleton. It has been there for years. There is a clear bullet hole in the skull. When Ethan sees the name stitched onto the jacket, his body goes music cold. The name reads Ethan White. Ethan is stunned. Nothing makes sense. Nearby, he finds another Archie device identical to his own. Then he notices the metal bracelet on the skeleton's wrist. It is the same bracelet bound to his arm. There is only one difference. The bracelet on the skeleton glows music faintly green. It then activates the second Archie and orders it to play the last recorded log. Two voices music echo in panic. Moments later, a gunshot rings out. Before the recording can continue, the device shuts down as its battery music dies, moving deeper into the forest. It then begins to see the decayed remains of music human civilization. Rusted structures and broken machines from his own era lay scattered music among the trees. Night falls. Hungry and alone, and then nervously eats a wild berry. Unsure whether it is poisonous, he asks Archie to scan the stars above. After analyzing their positions, Archie delivers a shocking result. The year is 24,474. This is the future, but a future where nature has completely reclaimed the earth. The sky is clear and the stars shine brightly, untouched by pollution. Suddenly, the weather turns violent. Music lightning splits the sky and heavy rain crashes down. The Barry's toxins begin to take effect. He then vomits uncontrollably. His strength drains away and he collapses into unconsciousness. Time passes. Music. When Ethan opens his eyes, he sees a familiar face. It is Jack. Back in 2067, the scientists' music at Chronocorp realized Ethan was in critical condition. With only a small amount of energy left, they powered the time machine one final time music and sent Jack through. Jack explains the machine had just enough power for one last jump. "That's how I got here." Later, Ethan leads Jack to the skeleton and music asks quietly, "How could I die like this?" Jack examines the bullet wound and shakes his head. "I don't think this skeleton is you. Something doesn't add up." Ethan responds firmly, "Whoever called me here has the cure. I have to find it, and I don't have much time." Guided by Archie, Messick, they move deeper into the forest. In the distance, they spot a massive reinforced metal bunker. Hope rises as Ethan approaches the door, but nothing happens. Suddenly, a small robotic scanner emerges from the bushes and scans Ethan's eyes. After a brief pause, the bunker door slowly opens. Inside, it is completely dark, as if something is watching music from within. They step inside carefully. The moment they do, the door slams shut behind them. The last trace of light disappears. Music. As they move forward, a screen flickers on. It displays a Messick single message. "Welcome, Ethan White." Ethan presses enter. Instantly, the metal bracelet on his wrist tightens music painfully. The screen flashes. Now sample analyzed. Moments later, lights flicker on throughout the facility. Ethan freezes. This is the same laboratory he once knew, the home of the Chronocorp time machine, but now it lies in ruins. Machines are covered in rust, and it looks as though no one has been music there for centuries. A sudden realization hits Ethan. He says, "This bracelet has always glowed music red, but earlier it turned green, and the skeleton's bracelet, Is music green, too? That means I am walking the same path, and I may die the same way. Ed then asks Archie to play archived footage from the lab. A hologram appears. It is his father, Richard. He explains that he was the lead physicist behind the Chronocorp time machine. The footage shows Richard preparing to send a signal into the future. The machine music activates and transmits the message. Seconds later, a reply arrives. When decoded, it reads, "Send Ethan White." A stunned Richard turns to Regina and asks, "Who is calling my son 400 years into the future?" Regina replies, "Then we should send someone to investigate." The scientists object immediately. By the year 2474, they explain music the machine's power source would be almost completely depleted. The footage fades. The story returns to the ruined lab in 2474. Ethan and Jack stand in silence when a warning alarm suddenly blares. The nuclear core has failed. The time machine is shutting down. Ethan urgently questions Archie. Archie explains that the malfunction has cut off all communication with 267. Worse, they have only 3 hours to stabilize the reactor. If they fail, a massive nuclear explosion will destroy everything. Jack immediately begins preparing to repair the core. Ethan, however, remains still. Questions flood his mind. Music Ethan asks if they knew the power failure was coming, why didn't they warn us? And if they truly wanted to help, they could have sent a doctor or a soldier. Why send you? Jack replies calmly. Why would someone risk their life just to save you? With less than 3 hours music left, they move quickly, following familiar routes from their old working days. They cross the forest and finally reach the city. The sight stops them cold. The city is completely abandoned. Buildings stand buried under vines and trees. Music nature has taken everything back. The scene is unsettling yet strangely calm. Skeletons lie scattered across the streets. In that moment, Ethan understands something painful. Humans were the true destroyers. Music with humanity gone. The earth has begun to heal. Ethan enters the ruins of a school classroom. It is the same room where Xanthi once taught. Inside, he notices a music skeleton. As he looks closer, his heart sinks. It is Xanthi. In her hand is the same hair clip Ethan left behind, engraved with the words, "I will find a music way back to you." Beneath it, Xanthi had added a reply. "I wish you music would come back." Ethan's voice breaks. "This means we failed," he says. "Coming here changed nothing. I promised her I'd return, but I left her to die." Jack responds quietly. "There's no way out now. Music, we have to go back." Suddenly, Ethan freezes. A thought strikes him. He rushes to the skeleton's Archie device and plays its final recording. Two voices echo through the empty room, his own and Jack's, arguing intensely. Music, then Jack's voice rises in panic. Hearing his own voice, Jack freezes. Fear flashes across his face. He pulls out a gun and points it at Ethan. "How is my voice in that recording?" Jack demands. Ethan stares at the weapon. "Why do you even have a gun?" he asks. "Everyone here is already dead. Who are you protecting yourself from?" "Music, are you going to kill me?" Jack snaps back. "Why didn't you tell me about this recording earlier?" He then raises his hands, trying to calm him. "Music, give me the gun." "Jack, you're not thinking clearly." With less than 2 hours left before the explosion, Jack forces himself to focus. He takes Ethan to the nuclear reactor. Inside the power grid room, chaos fills the air. Sparks burst from exposed wires. They try to reboot the system, but instead the entire reactor begins to shake. Music violently. Suddenly, the heavy door starts to close. Ethan is trapped inside. Jack struggles desperately music to stop it, but the door seals shut. Radiation levels spike instantly. Ethan feels his strength music drain away. With everything he has left, he pulls a lever and collapses. After a moment, Jack smashes through the glass, rushes inside, and drags Ethan out. Slowly, Ethan regains consciousness. The reactor stabilizes. Music power is restored. They return to the lab. The time machine is running again. Ethan's eyes fall on an iron door. He opens it and sees the same corridor, the music place where he first found his skeleton. Confused and shaken, he doesn't understand why his remains are lying just outside the lab. Back inside, Ethan removes the battery from his OrDie device and connects it to the skeleton's OrDie. Then he speaks. "I understand now. The future is already written. We are not changing it. We are just moving through it. Earlier, when you aimed the gun at me and didn't fire, I thought my death was avoided, but my skeleton is still there." He looks at Jack. "That means nothing has changed. No matter what we do, the ending stays the same. We must go back. You shoot me and I lie in that corridor for 400 years. Jack says music nothing. Instead, he activates the old OrDie device. A video begins to play. It clearly shows Jack pointing a gun at Ethan and pulling the trigger. Jack shakes his head music in panic and says, "I would never do this. I am trying to save you." But Ethan has only music one goal, to return to his wife. "There's life here," Jack argues. "Going music back would be madness. We can't save everyone." The argument spirals out of control. Music Jack suddenly begins sabotaging the power grid. Enraged, Ethan locks him inside the control room. Shaken music and desperate for answers, Ethan activates old video footage left behind by his father. Richard appears on the screen and says, "Son, I built this time machine for you to music give you a better future." Ethan's eyes fill with tears. Another recording plays. Richard frantically calls his wife. "Come to the lab immediately with Ethan," he says. "Music, we don't have time." Richard had uncovered the truth. Regina never planned to save the world. Her real goal was escape. He intended to send his wife and son into the future, away from the coming collapse. But before they could reach the lab, Regina and her guards stormed inside. Music. This is when Ethan learns the most painful truth of all. Jack, the friend he trusted like a brother, was never just a friend. He was Regina's pawn. Groomed from childhood, Jack was placed beside Ethan to protect him, watch him, and betray him when the time came. Flashbacks music reveal a heated confrontation between Regina and Richard inside the lab. Regina argues that saving all of humanity would only repeat the same destruction. Music, humans are the virus, she says. Only a chosen few will be sent into the future. Richard refuses to accept this. He believes everyone can be saved. He tells Regina that the time machine has been permanently linked to Ethan's DNA and locked. As long as Ethan is alive, Regina has no choice but to keep him alive music and eventually send him 20 years into the future. Enraged, Regina turns to a junior scientist and asks, "Can you operate the machine without Richards?" When the scientist answers yes, Regina shoots Richard in the chest without hesitation. The truth shatters Ethan. His father didn't take his own life. He was murdered, and after Ethan was left orphaned, Regina placed Jack beside him, patiently waiting for a moment he music could be brought back to the machine. Suddenly, Jack breaks through the door. Ethan looks at him and says music bitterly, "You used me like a brother." Jack replies quietly, "I music was just a child. Regina used both of us." Jack then reveals that Regina is preparing to travel to the future in 2067 with her chosen elite. "Let music them go," he says. "We can't save everyone." But Ethan, consumed by rage, begins tearing apart the connections inside the time music machine. Jack pulls out a gun to stop him. His hands shake. He doesn't want to music kill Ethan. Then, in a moment of unbearable conflict, Jack turns the gun on himself. The gunshot echoes through the room. Blood splashes across Ethan's face. His only true friend music collapses in front of him. Ethan is left in silence. Meanwhile, music in 77, Regina stands before the time machine. Surrounded by wealthy families, she declares that history will remember this day, the day humanity refused to surrender and saved itself from extinction. In the year 2474, Ethan sits alone before the time machine, remembering his father's words. "Son, you were born for something great, Ethan shuts down Regina's planned journey and types a new message into the system. Send Ethan White. The truth becomes clear. The message sent 400 years ago came from Ethan himself. After Jack's death, he understands this is a closed time loop. If he doesn't send the message, Regina will never send him in 2067. And if he never comes, the world will never be saved. So Ethan becomes the cause of his own journey. He sends the message into the past, Muzik calling his younger self to the future, ensuring the cycle is complete. Back in 2067, the time machine activates. Energy surges through the chamber. Then something unexpected happens. Lush green plants appear inside the machine. The very plants Ethan sent from the future, fulfilling his music father's dream. Along with them arrives the Archie device carrying clear footage of Regina murdering Richard. In the future, Ethan destroys the time machine completely, ensuring it can never be used again. Sometime later in 2067, Xanthi watches the news. Chronocorp's laboratory has been raided. Long-extinct plants' music have been recovered. Regina has been arrested. Humanity has been given a second chance to heal the Earth. Xanthi understands immediately. Ethan sent the plants from the future. Just music then. A woman approaches her and hands her a small box with Xanthi's name on it. Inside is a music single flower. Xanthi's eyes fill with tears. Ethan sent it to her. In the year 2474, Ethan builds a headstone for Jack, honoring the brother he lost. He places Xanthi's hair clip there, the most precious thing music he owns, and says goodbye. Ethan knows he can never return to her. Then he remembers the skeleton. He rushes to the corridor, but Muzik it's gone. The future has changed. Ethan runs to the city. What he sees leaves him speechless. A thriving, advanced civilization music stands before him. Humans living in harmony with nature without destroying it. No skeletons, no ruins, only life. For the first time, Ethan smiles. He has broken the time loop. History has been music rewritten. His mission is complete. Though he could never return to Xanthi, he gave her something greater, a living world, a future, and hope. Muzik, and with that, the story comes to an end. Friends, if you liked this video and got lost in the story while watching, please subscribe to support us music so we can keep bringing you more videos like this. Thanks for watching.